Welcome to the Parentreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Keynes. Again, this is a community for parent entrepreneurs or aspiring parent entrepreneurs. So before I get into it, if you could subscribe, leave a comment, ask a question. Again, this community is to help other parent entrepreneurs. Today's topic, we're going to specifically be talking about Google versus Facebook ads. Context for me, I've done hundreds of hours of research and spent thousands of dollars, if not getting up towards tens of thousands of dollars on Google ads. And I wanted to tell you what I've learned, what I've done wrong, what I've done right, and if it's right for you. And the same with Facebook. I helped my wife get her business off the ground, and we've explored Facebook to eventually find a successful cadence after much testing. So after this podcast, I hope to give you some clarity around what's right for you. If you're starting a business or you're thinking about paid ads, but you have zero clue what either one of them do and which one's right for you, this should give you a better idea of, okay, I know with what I'm trying to do that this would make more sense and how to really get started. So first, let's start with Google. Well, what does Google do specifically that Facebook is different from? Google has a lot of different campaign options, which allow it to have a multitude of different ways in which you can approach potential customers. So you have shopping, like when you search for a product and you see the shopping tab at the top. You have search, so when someone searches for a specific thing and an ad pops up there. You have display ads, again, kind of more of what you think of your traditional banner ad. You have YouTube and video ads, and there's even something called Performance Max where it does a multitude of those things all together. So Google is a really good one-stop shop for, finding an audience that has a high intent. So what I mean by that, if I were to boil down Google to kind of one sentence for what it does, it's really good with high intent searches. Meaning if someone is searching what's called a long tail keyword, which is just a string or a sentence of something they're looking for, a service they're looking for, that shows high intent for what they're searching for or what they want to buy. So for example, let's say you own a lawn care company in the Nashville area. You obviously would be targeting someone who's looking at lawn care services in Nashville or best lawn care provider in Nashville, right? They're looking for that thing. They're searching that not just because of happenstance, but presumably they're interested in that service. So if your ad happens to be there, and it's speaking to their pain point of what they're trying to solve, then you potentially have yourself a future customer. Facebook, on the other hand, it's really good at demographic data. So instead, where Google focuses on what the person is searching, Facebook really focuses on who the person is, so the demographic of the person, and their interest. So if I were to boil this down, I would say that Google is really good for a service. Or it's really good for just one specific product that you are very confident in of what they're searching for. If it's more of a product that you're a smaller company, we'll talk about why it might make more sense to do Facebook later on. But by and large, services are going to shine best with Google. And for Facebook, it's going to be better for a product, especially an e-commerce company. So if you run some kind of Shopify store, most of the time, Facebook ads is going to be the best thing for you. So let's talk about the good and the bad of Google and the good of the bad of Facebook. So what's really good about Google for you to know, just kind of the 1 minute overview, is it has really good conversion tracking. I'd say even better than Facebook. It allows you to see in different layers how the person is interacting with your ad, with your website, and where they left off. So why does that matter? That you can see all those things through the different stages of them clicking the ad and then clicking this button and then clicking that button and then getting to a confirmation page or booking page, because it really allows you to optimize that. If you start to see a drop off in one particular area, it allows you to see what you need to focus on. So if I see that, they're clicking on, we have a good click-through rate, people are clicking through my ad, better than the average, and then they're dropping off at the and not converting, that means I'm getting their attention, but I'm not holding their attention. I'm not converting them over to the next stage of booking a call with me, if that's what I'm hoping that they'll do. So they have really good conversion tracking in the different layers, different steps, which helps you optimize ultimately. It's also really good with high intent, like I mentioned earlier. So you can target someone who's specifically looking for a specific thing within a specific region. So that's great, again, if you offer service like plumbing companies or service companies like lawn care. If you offer some kind of service, that's going to be a really good place to be. It's also really good for local targeting. So again, if you're targeting someone in a specific location, or you have a store at a specific location and you're trying to get your name out there, the local targeting is going to be best for you because you'll be able to hone in on someone within a specific region really well. Event-based tracking as well is something that I mentioned, being able to see things through the funnel. And again, there's a lot of different targeting types, as I mentioned, which we can add to the goods section. So again, we have shopping, search, display, all those different campaign options in YouTube, which allow you to gain the attention of your potential customer, no matter which way that they ingest media, whether that be video, whether that be just Google searching or the shopping tab. You can really find your demographic through whatever means through those different types of campaigns. The bad, at least from what I've seen, is, again, we understood that we are in a very expensive market in the software development space. The average click that we pay for can be between $30 and $60. I think on average it lands somewhere between $15 to $20. So it's really expensive, meaning I might get 3 or 4 clicks a day. And that's really tough. But you have to understand it's a really expensive service. So if I get one customer and I didn't convert anyone for a whole year, I'd still be ROI positive. But the challenge with that is, if you're going after a service, there's a lot of competitors out there. And if they're bigger than you, they can oftentimes outspend you. So you really have to be creative with your marketing, creative with your landing page, giving more value or having more guarantees or having something to really beat your competitors, because there's almost certainly a bigger person that can outspend you who's in the market. So you have to get really creative and especially ensure that you can optimize your landing page. That's something we're working on right now. We've gotten plenty of clicks. We've been able to go from like a really broad search like custom software development to being able to filter down into a really small segment, which is great because we service this exact segment, but we're continuing to optimize our landing page because we're getting clicks, but we're not getting as many conversions or really any conversions that we were hoping to get thus far as we've been continuing to refine this campaign. Oftentimes, it can also take a lot of money. Again, we've spent thousands of dollars and haven't seen really a return in the Google search. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of optimizations, and you have to be hands-on. You have to be pulling the different levers. Thankfully, once you start studying it, there's a lot of free resources out there for people giving away content on YouTube for doing Google Ads. But the thing is, it takes a lot of hands-on refining with negative keyword searches to ensure that you're excluding certain things that people are searching for, so that you're not wasting your spend on people who aren't going to buy your services. You're refining your copy, you're refining your ad group, you're refining your landing page. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of data and a lot of money to spend to eventually start seeing results. So I told my co-founder, hey, I recognize that we're probably not going to see any return on investment for like 6 months. So let's just keep that in mind and go ahead and set that as expectation, because it is a ultimate iterative test that we just have to continue to do. And so far, I think we're on track. Let's talk about Facebook then. What is the good? What is the bad? Facebook is really good for exposure. So again, instead of it being more about high intent, people searching for specific things, if you're a new company or you're a small company, it's really good for exposure. Getting your name out there, getting your name in front of people, getting your podcast, your blog, your service, your product, whatever, out there. It's also better on a budget. Again, instead of it being CPC, which is cost per click, like I mentioned, I pay per click for people searching for my service, which can be 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 bucks sometimes if it's a really expensive, service. Whereas Facebook, instead of CPC or cost per click, you might see the term CPM. That's cost per million, I believe, but it's French for thousand. So you're paying cost per thousand. So that means it's better on a budget because you're not actually going after a specific click. You're going after a specific person and exposure to a certain kind of person. So what does that mean then? Again, that means that it's better for exposure, it's better on budget, and it also has a better audience because it's focused not on the keyword search, it's focused on the person, meaning it's focused on who is this person that you'll sell to, where do they live, what are they interested in, maybe even how much money they make, or do they have kids, or the person they follow. So it allows you to really articulate who that person is and what they're interested in and get exposure to your brand at a much cheaper cost than Google search. It also provides a much more natural funnel, meaning that even if you're not getting direct conversions, as we've seen with my wife's company, they've been able to convert a lot more just by focusing on gaining followers on their social media. And the social media followers eventually are nurtured by the brand's messaging and posts, and they will eventually convert. So that's a really easy way that even if you're not getting direct purchases or direct conversions, you can still easily gather them into something that you can nurture. Where Google, you're not really going to be able to do that unless you offer some kind of lead magnet or something for free, or you're really good at capturing their email when they search for the term that you solve for, and you have a pop-up or something like that causes them to put in the email. But again, that's you taking the initiative and you building the infrastructure to do that. Where with Google being tied to Instagram and Facebook being tied to Facebook and being tied to obviously Instagram, this allows you to have a natural funnel to where even if conversions aren't working as well for you, maybe just focusing on exposure and just getting in front of as many people as possible and gaining followers will allow you to nurture those people into eventual customers. It's harder to quantify, but so far what we've seen with my wife's company, that's been the most successful out of all the things that we've tried. And it took us like 6 months to get there until we got to a point where we were doing, multiple sales a day consistently. And it was because we focused on followers instead of conversions. We just focus on nurturing those people as it was a new brand and is a new brand. So again, let's break this down in 30 seconds. Google versus Facebook. If you are offering a service, Google is probably going to be better for you. If you're offering a product, especially e-commerce, then I would suggest Facebook on that front. Why? Google is better for when you can say, I know exactly what they're looking for. So, for example, if you're a pool cleaner in Nashville and they're searching for pool cleaning in Nashville, you know exactly that's what they're searching for. Then that would be what you should go after. Or maybe it's a specific product like a cordless vacuums made in the United States. Okay, that's very specific. You know exactly what they're searching for when they're trying to get your service or your product. Then Google makes more sense. If you have complete confidence, if I put my flag here and I get enough exposure around this keyword topic of what they search for, then do that. However, if you don't know that, let's say you're a newer brand or this is your first go around and you're like, I really don't know what they search for, I'm a little bit of a different product, then I would definitely suggest to do Facebook or Meta ads. That's more of, instead of I know exactly what they're searching for like in Google, it's more of I know exactly who my audience is and what they are about or what interests they have. If you can articulate who that person is, especially if you're kind of scratching an itch for yourself, then that would be a much more cost-effective way for you to get exposure to your brand and ultimately to find your customers. So if you're selling, like baby products or mom clothes or something like that you're going to have a much better success rate with Facebook because you can articulate, this is where they live, their parents, they have these interests or follow these types of people. That's going to be a really good thing for you to consider. Or it's just like, hey, I'm starting a supplement company, but I can't afford to go in the Google shopping category and try to go after some of the big names. So what I'm going to do instead is, I know that, mostly with my supplements, dads buy it. And so I'm going to target dads within the United States who are interested in weightlifting. Okay, that's a much better place for you to start getting some sales, because while it might be a product, you may not be able to spend the same amount of money like these $1 million companies on getting on Google's shopping page. But you could spend, $25, $30, $40, $1,000 to get in front of the person who is your ideal client profile or ICP. So again, I hope that this breakdown was much more easy if this was your first introduction to paid advertising. But this should at least give you a better idea of considering what you're offering and what stage you're in on what option might be best for you as a Google or Facebook ads. And again, this is the Parentreneur Podcast. If you have any questions, please send them into the voicemail or to my email that's listed in the channel description. And until next time, thanks for watching.